Welcome to another sketchbook tour. This one's a repurposed book that I got from the Sketchbook company. These guys, they make really pretty things. Started with a portrait of my husband as an elf. This is hot press, so it's smooth, which I had never painted in before. Tried some flowers, and then I went on to experimenting with these super granulating paints from Schmincke, and I had so much fun with these. I taped off the area, made the page damp, and then dropped the colours in, and it was tremendous fun. I highly recommend doing it if you've never tried it before. Tried different colour combinations. Can't say I'm particularly in love with this shade of green, but yeah, it was interesting to see what it did. This was fun. And this. Can you see that texture there? Just delicious. Beautiful. This one was a lot of fun as well. For this one, I wanted to see how well these super granulating things worked for galaxy style pictures. Yeah, I think they add a lot of texture, which is really interesting. More. And more. At one point I thought this whole sketchbook was going to be playing with these super granulating paints and a bit of metallic as well. But then I got interested in lost edges and painting with a flat brush, these guys. Wanted to see what sort of different effects I could create. This is my eternal muse, my daughter. Then this was just experimenting with these flat brushes and some washi tape to create the boundaries. This was a mindful painting sort of exercise I just did one day for my own amusement. This was from a class on Skillshare by Françoise Blayac. I painted it how she demoed, and then I wanted to experiment a bit more with these lost edges, so I sort of blurred some of the birds to make it a little bit more abstract or painterly. This was experimentation for a class I was teaching on flat washes in watercolours. And then this was messing around, creating texture and then seeing if I could pull shapes out of it. And this was also an experimentation in using warm colours for shadows. Because normally we use cool because shadows are cool. So I wanted to see what would happen if we used something warm for it. This is one of my favourites. This started with a lot of swooshy abstract marks, and then I pulled a face out of those marks. And I love this. This is another one of my favourites. They're my daughter. And again, like experimenting with lost edges. So here we've got a kind of sharp definition of the cheek against the background, but here I wanted to blur the hair and the flowers into the background to give it a more magical sort of a feeling. Splatters for life. It's a bit more simple, but blending in the figurative with floral and more abstract marks. Again, this is experimenting with lost edges, pulling out sharp eyes, nose, mouth details, but letting the rest be really soft and ill-defined. And again, on that theme of what are the marks I need to make a face recognisable, and what are the marks that I can play with to make it more interesting. This was something I never finished. I put tape around the edges, creating kind of random directional marks. And I thought I was going to do something on top or with this, but I never really got the inspiration, so here it still is. This was testing out an idea to see whether this approach would work with it. It didn't quite turn out the way I wanted it to, but it's striking nonetheless. This was a face from my imagination, not from a reference, and it ended up looking a little bit like Kate Blanchett. This was another sort of piece from my imagination, experimenting with really sharp angles, things dissolving, little touches of colour to bring life to the figure. And then this was also some kind of random mark making I thought I might come back to and see if I could pull a figure out of this, but I never have. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this tour. If you've got any questions, let me know.